Welcome to the Journey Principles, where we show you how to go from stuck to unstoppable with life strategies that work. Now, here's your host and creator of the Transform You framework, Stephen Scoggins.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Journey Principles. So glad you're here. Just as a quick recap, we give you life mastery principles made simple to take you from stuck to unstoppable in any area of your life, and we hope you're loving the content so far. If you haven't done so already, please do us a favor, share us with a friend, like, share, and comment. And if you're watching us on YouTube, if you don't mind, hit the subscribe and smash the bell. That would mean a lot to us. Today we're going to be talking about the 7 value systems that is shaping your life. To help you have a better understanding of your overall self-awareness, as always, I'm sitting here with my buddy, Connor Kraft, Director of Connections here at Journey Principles. What's going on, dude?
Not much, man.
So what are you excited most about today?
For the values thing?
Yeah.
Well, this is another lesson that I really enjoy because it really tells you how you're motivated.
Yeah.
And I've always been a relatively ambitious person, but I've always been fascinated by like why and what elements of certain things motivate me and make me want to do something versus not want to do something. And the thing about this lesson that I really like is the fact that it tells you specific things that drive you and things that, you know, maybe if they're not things that don't motivate you as much, things that might even repel you to a certain degree.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. It's interesting you say that because one of the things that I run into all the time when I began teaching this lesson, again, someone taught this lesson to me, right? That's how I became so passionate about a lot of the tools that we use. It was so instrumental in my personal identity change. Here's the greatest problem I think that people struggle with right now. Most people are not walking around operating in their actual authentic identity. Most people are spending time trying to be someone they're not supposed to be because they're trying to impress their parents or appease their parents. They're trying to impress or appease their spouse. They're not actually taking the time to do the research and do the reflection it takes to figure out what makes them tick. So on the last 2 podcasts, and now the third one, we are still on what makes you you, who you are.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness 101, baby.
And that's because, like I've said before, there's really 3 things that we've identified here that will transform your life. It's building better relationships, mapping out a life you love, and then the third thing, which is really, we usually put it first, is discovering what drives you.
Yeah.
Self-awareness is that important. It's like 33% of the puzzle.
Look, if you don't know who you are, if you have no clue who you are, how can you ever expect to get anywhere you're supposed to go?
I guess you can't.
I mean, because you're not going to be connected to the right people. You're not going to know how to make a plan, right? You're not going to know the importance of what makes you frustrated and what makes you passionate, right? One of the things that I learned a long time ago is, and I never understood why, but from the time that I was 16 up, okay, I began working I was actually 11 when I started construction, but it's at the age of 16, I began to be pretty proficient at it, right? So my father would take the truck and he would go pick up materials or nails or whatever, and I'd be left at the job site with people that were probably 10 or 15 years my senior, right? Like with nothing else, it's almost like they began looking at me as a leadership kind of thing. I'm like, I'm a 16-year-old kid. What do I know about leadership? Like, right? These are rough and tough guys back in the day, right? These are guys that have had a rough life or made some bad choices along the way that, you know, kind of went into the building industry. But yet I found myself always going to the front of the pack. Contrast that a few years later. I went to go sell motorcycles, if you will, for Team Power Sports back in the day here in Garner, North Carolina. Again, landed day 1, 5 months in a row, top salesperson of the row. You know what I'm saying? So I fast forward to the front of the line again. Another construction company I went to, fast forward to the front of the line again. Worked at Waste Industries for a number of years. Went from delivering trash cans to being an assistant director of management or whatever you want to call it for the roll-off division, which is the big trash containers that kind of slide off the back. And I never understood why, because many times I was not ready for those positions of leadership, right? Not just from a maturity standpoint, but also from a self-awareness standpoint. But there I was being gravitated towards those things. And when I was put in those positions, if you just give me some time to kind of grow and mature a little bit, I would excel in those positions, right? But there's definitely times when I was put in those positions and I didn't know how to handle those positions. So why did I keep getting put in those positions? Why did I keep having all these different opportunities to lead and learn and to influence people along the way, right? I had no idea until I actually learned this content, and then I could discover why I tend to gravitate towards levels of leadership no matter where I'm at or what I'm doing. Karen used to get so mad at me because we go to a new church or something like that. And the next thing you know, I'm voluntolding myself for a variety of things. The next thing you know, I'm leading things. She's like, stop doing that, right? So we're going to get into the 7 value systems, the 7 dimensional value systems, which everyone shares. I'll tell you again, just like the DISC lesson that we've already kind of discussed and talked about. If you haven't taken advantage of the free DISC offer, make sure you go to journeyprinciples.com/resources. Take advantage of your free DISC assessment. Totally free, no obligation whatsoever. It's important you know who you are, okay? Now, that being said, this values piece is just like the DISC in that there's no one value system that is better than another.
Right.
And you are going to register at some level on all 7 of the value systems.
So what is a value system?
Well, in this particular way, the reason we call it dimensional value systems is because it's really dimensional motivators. All right.
Okay.
These are things that are going to motivate you in any given time.
Things that you're driven by, things that
You're
you
driven
value.
by, and they're innate. They're subconscious in nature. I would dare say, as a person of faith, that you were born with these traits.
Wow.
With these levels. I'm one of the people that believes that the world is like a body, if you will. Some people are meant to be fingers, some are meant to be toes, some are meant to be knees, ears.
I know people are meant to be toes.
Yeah. I mean, believe it or not, you try chopping off one of your toes and see how well you walk or run. You need every body part you got.
That's true.
So, the motivators are the same way. Okay. However, one of the reasons why we pivot away from just dimensional motivators and call it dimensional values is because it is based in a value system. In other words, if you're doing it and doing it well, you feel inspired to keep moving forward. You feel encouraged. Okay. However, if someone crosses that value system, meaning they do the polar opposite of what that value system means to you, you get incredibly angry, frustrated, and resentful. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the value systems themselves, and we'll hit all 7 briefly. And if you want to know more information, just hit us up. We'll give you some tools and resources to kind of make sure it happens. But
for sure. And we also have a whiteboard lesson that we did, I believe, chronologically at the time that this comes out yesterday.
Yeah.
Should be on our YouTube channel. I believe we kind of dove into these individual value systems, all 7 of them, on the whiteboard lesson as well. So if you want a little more detail after this podcast, you can check that out.
I've also intentionally chosen, Connor, hope you don't mind, but I went ahead and put an entire very detailed, methodical approach to these 7 value systems in our ultimate self-awareness course we have coming out shortly.
Right.
I dumped it in there. I spent a lot of time getting very super detailed because I began getting questions from people about, well, okay, so I'm an economic, I like an ROI, but what else is it?
Right, for sure. I mean,
thing,
there's a ton of information to unpack here, and really too much to really unpack in one podcast, which is why we created that course.
Yeah, and it's just one piece of that entire ultimate self-awareness course. That
for sure.
I think
we'll tell you how you can get that at the end of this podcast.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's jump into the 7 value systems. Okay, so obviously there's 7. I love the number 7, right? Think of it as motivators. Think of it as things you stand for and things you stand against. Okay, so if you're standing for that thing, then when you're able to operate in that value system, you're encouraged, inspired, and you keep moving forward. You're more passionate, okay?
Would you say you're more driven?
You're definitely more driven.
Wow.
Okay? Now, on the other hand, if you're not operating in that value system, but yet you hold it dear, you're going to be frustrated and stuck. And here's an example. So the very first one that we have is called a high aesthetic, okay? A high aesthetic is someone who loves feng shui. They love harmony, love peace.
Style, design.
So
these are like your OCD people that have to,
You could call it OCD. So ironically, all right, so I will go ahead and confirm this right now. My wife, one of her highest value systems is a high aesthetic.
That's why she's so great at putting together.
She is incredible. She is like Joanna Gaines on freaking steroids.
Well, your house looks amazing.
Yeah, it does.
And I know it's not all you because you're not a detail guy.
No, it's not even that. I register really low on the high aesthetic. I really do. Okay, it's not that I don't like peace and harmony because I like how the house feels.
Right.
I like the environment that
you
she
just don't
created.
Value it as much, so you don't put in the effort to really make it all look good.
Exactly. Look, I mean, when I met Karen, I was in a 4,000 square foot house, and my walls barely had anything on it. Right. My blankets consisted of like Bruce Lee and Transformers. Like I was still like a kid at heart. I mean, it's crazy, but it was only like 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
All right. So here's why this is important. Okay. So for a number of years, number of months, Karen would be constantly changing the house, buying new Ray Dunn stuff, buying blankets, buying pillows, buying pictures for the wall, buying chairs or whatever, setting out candles at night when I come home and all this kind of stuff, maybe a glass of wine back in the romance days kind of deal, right? So I'd get all that, she'd get all that done. I would come in, I would have had a long day. I'd throw my stuff down and I'd want to go just chill with her. Okay. And the first thing that she would say would be, well, honey, did you notice? And I'm like, no, I didn't notice. And she used to get mad at me because I didn't notice. The reason this is important is because remember I told you that some of these value systems are when you're able to operate them, you feel good. And when you're not able to operate them or people don't recognize the effort that you put in that value system, they feel a little resentful.
Right.
Perfect example. Okay. I love my wife. I think she's amazing. I really do. Right. I had to teach myself, case in point, for those of you who are not high aesthetics who might be married to one, I had to teach myself to walk in the door and actually intentionally look around the house and see what changed that day. Because things changed literally that much.
How much did she appreciate it when you started doing that?
Oh, dude, it was night and day difference. Night and day difference. The fact that I say, hey, did you get a new chair over there? I saw that over there. All right. And it's not just furniture and it's not just house, right? These are style people, right? They're good at color coordination. They have, they're good at their hair, right? I mean, they know style, right? But they're coming from a place of trying to create an environment that's is peaceful and harmonious in nature. Okay. Some would say that Bono from U2 was one of those people, right? He was always out there kind of dressed to the nines in his own style, not necessarily in one that I would say, hey, look, that's my style kind of deal, right? They just have a different way of looking at the world.
It's people who care about design,
exactly.
Form, function.
Exactly. Now, contrast that to one of my highest, and I have 3 of those now. I actually have 4 technically, which is unusual, but one of my highest is the next one in the pile, which is called high economic. Now, most people, when I say high economic, because I know you're one, think, well, it must mean money, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's what you actually said before. Well, I'm high economic, so what does that mean?
Well, yeah, and I mean, I thought that it sounded like it should be money as well, and to a degree it is, but what it really is, and I'll let you kind of explain that, but it's essentially ROI. Right?
Yeah, it's ROI, it's competitiveness. They appreciate, while they do appreciate financial reward, and they see when they're going through their life, if they make more money or get bonuses, they do feel valued. Okay, so I've got people within my companies that I own that some of them are high economics, some of them are high aesthetics. Me giving more money to someone who's a high aesthetic
means practically nothing.
Yeah. However, me giving them the opportunity to decorate for a live event we're doing or be the liaison.
They're pumped.
Yeah, they get stoked, right? High economics, very different. They are financially motivated, but it's not just the motivation. They see dollars as certificates of appreciation, okay? On top of that, they are ROI and bottom line oriented, meaning that, and this has happened in my life, right? If I told Karen, I love you, I was expecting her to say, I love you too.
And that's really always been interesting to me, that spin on economic, because like you said, I used to think of it as just money, and really it applies in relationships too. It's like you're expecting a return. When you say I love you, you want that back, which I would think most people, it's kind of normal.
You would think, but some people are not, it's not important to them.
Like I would think maybe this is several down, but maybe an altruist is not necessarily expecting as much of a return for that love. I could be wrong about that. Yeah, they're more selfless.
They're more interested in just giving to make you feel better. But we'll get there in a second. But on a high economic side, ROI, competitive, bottom line oriented. They are financially motivated. They do see financial rewards as meaning. I will tell you from personal experience. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat apparently.
So do I.
From personal experiences, that people that pursue economic gain and finally achieve economic success oftentimes fall way down on the high economic scale because they get it and they figure out this is not as fulfilling as I thought it would be. And I am one of those people. Okay. You can have all the money and stuff in the world.
So yours actually went down.
Mine dropped, and then another one of mine went way up.
Wow.
Right. High economics, they are looking for a return.
This is interesting, and I'm going to catch you in something real quick, and I want to see how you take this.
Okay.
Because you said earlier in this podcast that you think it's something you're born with. But if they can flip like that, then I assume.
Well, when I say flip, I don't mean you go from 50 to 90 or 90 to 50. I'm meaning like a 10-point or a 15-point swing.
Okay.
Basically what happens is your motivation, how you see your life, how you see your significance, how you see your meaning is now changing.
So you're still wired in essentially the same way,
Exactly.
but now, once you, like you said, if you have all the money in the world and you don't really need that economic as much, and it's not as important to you, you might shift to something
and then
else.
each of these value systems also have a level of maturity. So, for example, when I first started my construction companies, I wanted to be successful so I could show people that my homelessness and my garbage and my GED and stuff like that, I wanted to have that I told you so moment. Okay?
So do I.
Right? When I finally got to a level of success, I began to realize that that's not how I wanted the world to see me at all, and that's not how I wanted to be towards the world at all. And instead, my economics started balancing out with one of my other values in that I began saying, well, there's no margin, there's no ministry, which I learned from Dave. Okay? What that means is there is a level required for an economic return to even sustain the journey principles, for example.
Oh, of course.
So if I want to transform 1 million plus lives in any length of time, whether it be in a year, a month, 10 years, a decade, or 10 years and a decade are the same thing, but right, if I want to do any of that, okay, I have to have a return on the money that I've invested. Now, you know how much money I've invested creating the entire entity.
Guys, it's a lot.
Just so I can help people.
Right.
Right? And I haven't stopped.
And I want to just hit on something real quick, because I think that especially in the influencers and guru space, there's a lot of hate on gurus that sell courses and things like that. And I understand it, especially with some of them who haven't actually done what they're talking about and they're selling courses. And there's some people who, are a little bit more sleazy about it. But to a certain degree, you have to be able to monetize a company like this in order to essentially. If
you're going to serve people, now here's I think where we value different, and then this is one of those things I thank God for, that He gave me the opportunity to have level of success,
right?
Figure out it wasn't really worth a whole lot, and then pivot me to where I'm at today, where there's no margin, there's no ministry. Here's what I mean by that: the stuff that we offer at Journey Principles, as a rule of thumb, comes as close to breaking even as possible.
Oh, for sure. I mean, guys, this self-awareness ultimate course is worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars. We're probably going to end up selling it for under $10.
Yeah, it's going to be under $10.
It's going to be ridiculous.
Because my hard cost, the fact that I can record the content, I can create the workbooks, I can create the strategy guides, I can create the PDFs. The fact that I can do that now, do it one time, and then give it to the tribe and our community, right, at a low cost, helps them. Right. However, given the fact that to bring in we have a very great partner that helps us with our media, Triad, right? We've talked about them before on air. They're an amazing group of guys that make sure that our content is up to snuff and whatnot. They expect to be paid.
Of course, right? Like
for their hard work.
Yeah, a lot of people would be like, well, why don't you just put out all this free YouTube content? That you don't have to make money for that. Yes, we do, because we have to pay Triad, right?
And it's okay. So when it comes to the tribe, I don't necessarily need the tribe to feel like we're asking them for anything, because I'm asking them for anything.
Well, that's why we give out so much free content.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. Right? I mean, I invested well over $100,000. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to actually say that. To create the video library that they have that they can use for free.
For sure, yeah.
So I mean, it was something that I wanted to do, but that's where my value system pivoted. Okay, so let's go ahead and we hit the high economic a little bit. Again, I'll make sure that I do a complete deep dive in every last one of these when we release the ultimate guide in the coming weeks. And if for some reason you're watching this after the fact and it's there,
which is a very good chance. So there's a good chance that you can check the description of this video or the show notes if you're listening to the podcast, and you'll be able to access that course immediately. Like we said, it'll be very affordable.
Right. Exactly. So what's unique about Elton John, Lady Gaga, Cher, and people like them? What's unique about
They're
them?
performers.
They're performers, but what else do you notice about their stage presence?
Somewhat flamboyant.
They're flamboyant.
Loud.
Would you say that their design or their greatest desire is to be unique and stand out?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's your high individualistic. They care so much about.
Freddie Mercury's one too.
It could be, for sure.
Probably, I would
Right?
guess.
High individualistics, as a rule of thumb, do things to stand out. Okay? They feel like it's part of their DNA, and if you lose my theology, I think it is part of their DNA that they're designed to stand out. They're designed to be a beacon for a level of tribes, communities, and people groups. Okay? Ronald Reagan was known as a high individualistic. Okay? Not only was he an actor, not only was he a president, but he was also the guy that commanded presence in the room without even being notified.
What's crazy is that he was an actor and everything. I mean,
That's
I
what I'm
always
saying.
thought that was so interesting that we had a president that used to be.
Now we
I
got
mean, I
two
guess
of 'em.
now, yeah, I guess that's true.
But what I'm trying to get at is a high individualistic is they're made to stand out. And the reason I want to bring that up is because a high individualistic is going to operate in a style that is consistent with who they are, right? They're not going to let the haters hate on them, right? A perfect example, one of our good friends and even one of our strategists from time to time is Cindy Nanez, okay? Cindy Nanez is a rock star of a business owner. She's an amazing woman. But on top of that, she's always dressed to the nines. She's always super bubbly. She's always super friendly. And when it comes to live events, I'm like, Cindy, make this thing rock.
Yeah.
Like make this experience something that people will never forget, kind of deal. So she's going to partner with her high aesthetic self and then partner with her individualistic self, and it's going to become a party kind of scenario. Now, not so far that we don't get anything done, because we do, but one of the things Cindy's really good at is she's good at bringing people together. But when Cindy's in a room, you know Cindy's in a room, right? And it's not done out of immaturity or something like that. Now, if someone is in the room that has a very low individualistic, they might find the individualistic person or value system to be somewhat uncomfortable for them. Why is so-and-so got to stand out? Why are they act like they got to act like they're all this? Da, da, da. And you hear that negative stuff, okay? Some of the most successful actresses, actors, performers, music, artists, most of them have off-the-chart high individualistic and off-the-chart high aesthetic.
What do you think about Robert Downey Jr.? You think he'd be a high one?
Yeah, he probably would be. Well, at least the Iron Man version of himself, anyway, for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing with Charlie Sheen back in the day with was it 2 men and a
2.5 Men?
2.5 Men.
Yeah,
That's
for
it.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. So those are examples of a high individualistic. Okay. And again, I'll do a complete deep dive into each one of these: strength, weaknesses, blind spots, all of that being the ultimate guide. The next one on the list is going to be our number 4. Our number 4 is called the high political. Okay. Now, high political is one of the ones that I not struggle with, one of the ones I scored the strongest in myself personally. Okay. Remember I told you earlier in the show that about the fact that I was always fast forwarded to the front of the line many times for leaderships or second level leadership roles.
Yeah, almost like a natural born leader.
Almost like a natural thing. Yeah. Well, it turns out politicals by nature, and this is not politics, all right? This is political. This is leadership. It really should be called leadership or authority, really, truthfully, right? The high political naturally gravitate toward levels of leadership. They naturally have leadership capabilities that put them in places of authority. The interesting thing about that is, like all of these value systems, if it's done in mature fashion, they make great leaders. Okay? If they're immature in their high political, they are horrible leaders. And I know that because I am one. Okay? I spent years trying to figure out how to motivate and inspire people to follow me, to help me be successful with companies and everything else, not realizing that their feelings, their aspirations, and their goals matter too.
So you valued political or leadership. You valued leadership, so you were always going after it, but your strategy wasn't good enough.
My strategy sucked.
Right.
Because an immature political, the entire motivation is about them. A mature high political, the motivation is about others. Okay? Each one of these different value systems, that's what you're going to find from a maturity to an immaturity standpoint, or vice versa. Okay? An immature high aesthetic is going to be making sure that it's all about them as well. A mature high aesthetic, like for my example, my wife, I would deem as a mature high aesthetic. She's not only really gifted at it, but she knows how much I appreciate the feeling that I come home to a place that I can replenish and get some peace. because I am go, 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 knocking walls down, getting stuff done, trying to help as many people as possible, running multiple businesses at once, all this kind of stuff. She creates that environment, that Zen place for me to realize.
Yeah, she's really good at that.
You see what I'm saying?
For sure.
So that's what I wanted people to understand when it comes to these different value systems, is that there's a mature fashion and an immature fashion. Again, I'll hit it on a deep dive in the upcoming Ultimate Guide. But in the meantime, number 5 is the high altruist. Okay. Ironically, that is one of my highest to date. Okay. High altruist. Think about someone who's an off the chart high altruist. Literally think Mother Teresa.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Completely selfless.
Completely selfish, totally about other people, totally about helping the world. Doesn't matter if it costs her something, a sacrifice.
That's interesting you say that, because it almost seems like if you have a high altruist and a high economic, and they're both very high, they would conflict.
They would, in theory, until you mature.
I see.
All right, so we'll go back to the journey principles example for a minute. So I've invested quite a bit of resources into creating this company. Okay. I've invested quite a bit of resources into buying the live event center. I've invested quite a bit of resources into buying all the camera equipment people are watching us on, or the mics people are listening on right now. Mm-hmm. Okay. Why? Because I care about the quality in which we offer content. I care about the quality of what they have action to. Okay. So my altruist says, give it all away.
Yeah.
Don't worry about how much stuff costs. Just keep giving it. The problem is my high economic says, well, you can't go quite that far, because if you do that, you're not going to be able to serve people numbnuts because you'll be out of business.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So there is a balancing act within me, and that's where the no margin, no ministry thing comes into place. I don't care if we make $1 above covering our cost. I just don't care. Right? I've managed to be at a place in life where I'm able to enjoy a certain level of lifestyle, which is not flamboyant in any stretch of the matter. You've been to my house. You've seen some of the other properties that I've owned in the past. Karen and I live a fairly modest lifestyle based on the environment that we've been blessed with. Okay? We just don't need it. Mm-hmm. Right? Karen and I both. One of the things, one of her other highest value system is altruism. We like to give. And it makes us feel good when we see it help somebody. We genuinely like to give. We genuinely like to help people succeed. We genuinely want to make sure.
You're genuinely probably the most giving person I've ever met.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Our heart is to make sure other people have the same opportunity and pattern of growth that we've had.
Right.
Most my wife and I have been through some pretty difficult things along the way. All right. So when it comes to high altruist, if you're a low on the altruism thing, it's not that you don't care about people or you don't want to give. You're just still more in that zone of self. Okay. So the lower altruism is, there's a tendency to be more wrapped up in self. The higher it is, the more into the selfless category you have. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I want to make sure we kind of understand that, because again, immaturity, a higher altruist is going to get run over all the time. They're going to overgive and get their head cracked open. Mature higher altruist is going to be able to give and have boundaries at the same time. Okay?
Makes sense.
So as we wrap up high altruist, it's making sure that you understand that those that are wired to give should be giving, right? Again, imagine if you were a high economic, okay, but you were put in a position where your daily life and your daily passion, or you're not your daily passion, but your daily profession, okay, was based on how well you painted things, how well you rearranged a room. How frustrated will you be?
Oh, man.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now imagine if you're a high aesthetic and you're put in charge of home decor.
You'd be over the moon.
Exactly. Okay. One of the things that I see, one of the biggest mistakes that I see right now in our environment and our economy and all the people that we've had a chance to work with, okay, it doesn't matter if it's some of the professional athletes I've worked with, doesn't matter if it's a soccer mom, right, or a hardworking dad, doesn't matter, okay, all of them, right, all of the people, one of the most common denominator problems or mistakes that I see are people trying to force fit themselves into a value system that they're not created for.
Why do they do that?
Most people do it because someone else has said, you should do, you should be, which makes you a doobie.
So you're listening to other people's opinions.
Exactly. A lot of it happens. It's even happened in my own household at times, right? Meaning that I've got great kids, all of them. My daughter, my sons, all of them are great people. They all got their strengths and struggles like everybody else. But and both my boys are about to graduate high school. Okay. I've always told them, I want you to do what God built you to do. I want you to do what you're good at. So they've taken the personality tools, they've done the values assessment, they've done all these different resources so we can actually help them understand what they're made for. Okay. Well, one of my sons is going to be a history major at Campbell. Okay. My other son is a little more flexible. I see him as being potentially one day a speaker, even with the Journey Principles at some point in time, once he's earned it. I don't give my kids nothing. They got to earn it, just like I did. Okay. Same kind of concept, but he's naturally good with people, right? So one of the things I know about him is he needs to be naturally good with people. Well, he goes to sit down with some other family members, okay? And they're like, oh, no, you should go do this. No, you should go do this. No, you should go do this, right? And he's like, I would hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it pays well. So you're going to make money and be completely unhappy for the rest of your life?
Don't do that.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it makes no sense, right? So this is where the value systems and stuff comes into play. It helps you understand your relationships. It helps you understand your profession. And it helps you understand your identity. Okay? All right. I want to make sure we move on to the next one, which is regulatory.
Right.
Okay? Regulatories is one of my lowest, right? Which is all about systems, processes, and organization.
Me too. I hate that.
Mine
might be a little bit higher than yours, but it's still very low.
My ex-wife was off the chart high regulatory.
Oh, man.
Okay. So needless to say, we butted heads a lot.
I bet.
Because I'm like, that is not important, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
And they would be like, no. All the cans in the cupboard must line up correctly with the labels facing out.
Oh, so this is more OCD.
Oh, it can be very OCD.
Okay. So the aesthetic is more so with design.
Design, feng shui. Now, there is an OCD to it, meaning my wife, Karen, would go and turn a Ray Dunn cup a specific way if she felt like it didn't look just right.
I have a decent aesthetic, so I've kind of done stuff like that too. Yeah.
I know you maybe changed the marker color in one of our videos.
That's true. Yeah, I always, dude. I'm telling you, it looks better that way. It just does.
So you guys don't know this because it wasn't shot on camera, but when we went to go record the whiteboard lessons, I do those off the cuff. So we have a concept. I get invited by the team to teach a concept, and then I just teach a concept freeform for a variety of few minutes to kind of just share my heart and share the concept. Okay. In doing so, I typically will draw out what I think we'll put on the whiteboard that day so I can teach it appropriately. So there's a moderate level of preparation involved. Well, as you guys know, our whiteboard is kind of a cool looking whiteboard. It's a glass dry erase board.
It's more of a light board, yeah.
Yeah, that has a neon. It has a not an LED light system that's behind it or around the glass, and then we have neon markers.
Right.
One of the reasons I like it is because we can either shoot in front of the camera or behind the camera and still make it work and it still looks cool. Okay. It's unique and it's unique to us. Now, there's been some people that have used it before, but anyway, enough about the light board.
Right.
Right. Connor does have a pretty high aesthetic. Okay. Again, I have a very low high aesthetic.
Yeah, so we butted heads this day.
We butted heads, and it almost got me off my game. I got so frustrated because I'm done drawing it. I'm ready to shoot. I'm in the headspace. I'm ready to teach. I know what I want to share with you guys. I know how I'm going to communicate it and to give you the most value possible. Meanwhile, I'm colorblind. Okay?
Right.
Here's a fun fact that you guys didn't know that I've just admitted on air for the first time. I am colorblind.
Right.
Not completely like black and white, but I have a hard time distinguishing between certain colors. Yeah. Anyway, so our whiteboard has 4 or 5 different color markers. There's like a
red,
neon
there's
pink,
a green, there's
a blue,
yeah.
whatever. So pink and blue look the same to me. Green and orange look the same to me, whatever. Right. So we go to draw this thing out. I draw it all out because I'm the artist. I'm the one that draws the stick, not the more artsy fartsy kind of like cartoon characters and stuff like that, right? Connor does a lot of the words.
Which is interesting for someone with a low aesthetic like you, that you are actually a pretty good artist.
Well, my high I in my disc, for example, I like things that allow me to create, which is another reason why we don't have problem creating new content. I enjoy the process of creating. Okay.
So
but going back to the whiteboard.
Right.
Okay. The light board, I should say. I'm drawing. I'm done. Connor looks at the thing. I got everything right except for this one picture with a different color marker.
Let me set the scene real quick. We have 4 circles.
No. Let me finish, and then you can chip in.
Go ahead.
Right. My perspective is, okay, that I was done. That the content is what was most valuable to people. That was my hope and my dream. Meanwhile, Connor looks like he's about to poop a brick. Walks over and just, dude, we gotta change this. I'm like, we gotta change what? What's the problem? Well, that one thing is the wrong color. You can't. Don't you see that color just throws off the whole thing? I'm like, no, actually, I don't see that. To me, I see green beside orange, and to me,
gray.
Well, it's not quite. No, I can see color, but I can't see the shades of color.
Right.
Anyway, so that's my side, right? So I'm frustrated because this kid is going to make me get off my game to change an icon that's about yay big. For people who are looking on YouTube, it's about the size of a grapefruit.
Correct.
Or audio, right?
I think it was actually words inside of circles. So we had 4 circles.
Words?
Each circle was a different color. We had a green circle, we had a red circle, we had a blue circle, and we had an orange circle.
Yeah.
And inside of each circle, which had a different color, we used the same color that the circle was to write inside of the circle. So for the first 3 circles, the red, green, and then whatever, we had red inside the red circle, green inside the green circle, blue inside the blue circle. Then we get to the orange circle, and he makes it blue inside. So I was like, dude, like, people I know there are going to be some people watching this. They're gonna be like, why did he do like the same color
For the
all
record,
of them?
high aesthetics make up a small portion of the population, but they do make the world better.
I was just like, but I feel like there's some people who would just be like, why did he do that?
Because I'm colorblind.
So anyway, I was like, dude, just stop. Come on, let me. I took the marker from
This
him,
is our give and
gave
take.
it back. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so that's not on the regulatory side. That's on the aesthetic side.
Yeah.
Okay. It just didn't look right. It didn't feel right. It's got to feel a certain way. And I do care about what people think and what they, as far as like how they experience our content. I don't need your hate mail necessarily, but I love you and bless you in Jesus' name, kind of deal. Bless your heart. But yeah, so that was our whiteboard experience, which kind of goes off into the aesthetic regulatory. So his aesthetic got offended because I don't share that same value. My economic got offended and my political got offended because I'm like, dude, I'm about to lose what I need to share with the people. That's more important than the stupid color of this marker. So it's been an ongoing discussion for the last week and some change.
Yeah.
But
Kind of been a running joke. Like, hey, man, you want to change the marker color again?
yeah, exactly. So anyway, no, regulatory systems processes, everything has a place and every system has a step. Okay. I unfortunately tick off high regulatories on a regular basis. I like what processes and systems do. I love that, matter of fact. My entire large company runs off of systems and processes that I'm not involved with because I struggle to follow the systems and processes.
Right.
Right? Because it's very low on my agenda. I'm more interested in giving, ROI, and that kind of thing. So
I've always wondered how you guys put those in place. I mean, I assume you hired some people who have a higher regulatory, and then
There
they
you
went to you
go.
and said, hey, we have to do this. And you said, okay, do it.
So that's the benefit of knowing your strengths, your struggles, and your blind spots. If I know I suck at details, or if I get bored with details, right, it's less important, I'm not passionate about it, then I'm going to hire somebody who probably on the DISC scale is going to score pretty high on the S, probably reasonably high on the I, and a little bit on the quite a bit on the C. I'm also going to hire somebody with a motivation factor, a values factor of a high regulatory. Okay. Knowing that, I'm going to tell them when I sit them down to hire them, I'm going to say, by the way, my name is Steven Scoggins and I'm a recovering process guy. Meaning I am not able to appreciate your processes the way they should be appreciated. I want to tell you right now that I'm going to appreciate everything you're going to build, even though I may actually accidentally throw grenades in it and break it by accident.
Right.
I'm asking you now for forgiveness in Jesus' name. Please forgive me because I'm going to be in a mess, right, kind of deal. So all that to say that those are examples of both operating in maturity and immaturity, and also examples of how a value system could rub another value system wrong or rub a value system right. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, the final one is one of the other ones that I'm excited about, the ones I'm good at, and one of the ones that Connor and I actually share. It's called the high theoretical. Okay? High theoreticals love knowledge, learning, and learning for learning's sake. Right? So you've done this before. You've gotten lost in blogs, articles, videos.
High theoretical.
Yeah. So the strength of that is they're a wealth of knowledge, okay, in a variety of subjects. They like to learn for learning's sake. Therefore, they have all kinds of access to all kinds of data, information, stuff like that. I, too, love to learn, right? My top 4, economic, political, Altruist, and Theoretical, and almost all of them are equal, like well above the national norm, other than my Altruist, which is the highest. So I like to give more than even like my ROI kind of deal. But I love to learn. You love to learn, okay? So if you have a child sitting at home, for example, right now, who can't get enough of books, who can't get enough of training, stuff like that, there's a good chance that your child is a high theoretical.
Or possibly in the modern era. I mean, if you're watching a lot of YouTube videos that are more educational in nature, obviously there's some YouTube videos and channels that are kind of more of entertainment. But like if you watch a lot of the, I don't know, what to do if you're falling out of an airplane or something like that. Like I eat those up. I'm just like, oh, I want to know that. Like,
Yeah, Connor's a wealth of interesting information. And that's part of the reason why he can pepper me with so many questions on Car Rides with Connor, which we have to release some of those, by the way.
Yeah, we really do.
We haven't done those yet. Car Rides with Connor, or when Connor sits in a car with me for hours on end and peppers me with the questions, we literally get like a week's worth of content just in those car rides.
Whenever we do a road trip.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get him to let me answer the question before he moves on to the next question. We're still working on that, but anyway. So your high theoreticals, theologicals, if you will, are people who love to learn. Okay, they love to learn. They have a sense of meaning that comes with that learning. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's an overview of the 7-dimensional value systems. Okay. Again, I'm going to put a whole huge amount of information and assessment, some other things in the ultimate kit we're building. We haven't even finalized the name of the thing yet, which is why we just refer to it as the ultimate kit or the ultimate
ultimate guide to self-awareness in under $10.
We'll figure it out. It's going to be super cheap. Not because it's not valuable, but because I don't believe in you guys having to invest thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars for that matter in something that's you're going to use for 6 or 8 months and then not use again for a while, because you'll have the self-awareness. You'll be aware.
We wanted to make this accessible and affordable for people.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
It's that pivotal. I mean, it's very, very important.
So in wrapping up, one of the things I want to talk about real fast is making sure you understand that if you don't fully understand what drives you, you're never going to be able to know where you're going. Okay? Or you'll be going the wrong place under the wrong circumstances. Right? Again, if you're high aesthetic, you don't need to be working in a lawyer firm. Okay? Unless you have an off-the-chart regulatory too. Does that make sense?
I think a political would be decent at being a lawyer.
Could be. Now, political is not about debate. Political is about leadership. It's about, do they command leadership? Do they exercise authority? And one of the things I noticed about political specifically, in immaturity, it's all about power. In maturity, it's all about authority. Power and control, authority and influence kind of deal. So, all right. So what are the top 3 biggest mistakes that you've learned from yourself from actually working through the value systems as you've learned it over the last couple years?
I don't know if I can come up with 3 big mistakes, but I will say that when I learned them, me personally, it really gave me more insight as to how I'm driven. So when I recognized that I am high theoretical, I can put myself in situations where my work involves learning and I'm much more motivated to do my work. Whereas if I put myself in a situation where it involves making processes, like something regulatory, which I'm relatively
Thank God Evan came on board.
Yeah, for sure. That's something that I would procrastinate on and put off for a long time, and it never gets done.
Because I'm the guy that's results driven. So I'm like, Connor, where's this at? Connor, where's this at?
And I'm like, dude, I haven't done it because I hate it.
And I'm like, do the push-ups.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, look, guys, we're going to wrap this up, but we hope you enjoyed this episode. We hope you got a little information about the 7-dimensional value systems. I'm sure you've got questions on where you rank in that process. I promise you we have a resource coming out where you can kind of figure that out, kind of understand that on your own. We're not going to leave you hanging long. Probably by the time that you could actually hear this podcast or watch it on YouTube, we'll have already put it in the show notes, already got it together. It's in development. Simply waiting on our team to finish it up.
Go ahead and check the show notes and or the YouTube description, depending on where you're watching this. And if it's not out yet, it'll just say coming soon. But if it is, which very likely, there will be a link where you can buy it. It'll be under $10. It includes a really, really awesome personality assessment, which goes into DISC, it goes into values, and a whole lot more.
Yeah, there's over 8. I want to say when I did the rough math, there's several hours of video training just by itself. You should be able to watch the video several times and actually know enough to train people with it. Let's put it that way.
So if you want to get more information about that, you can check the description.
And remember, If you don't level up yourself, you're never going to be able to level up your life. Make sure you go get it. We believe in you. You're amazing. Keep at it. And we'll see you again on the next Journey Principles. Take care, guys. Bye. I'll see you in the next video. And please, if you don't mind and you enjoyed the life mastery content we're building, consider hitting the subscribe button and also hitting the bell so you'll be the first to get notified anytime we release new content.